Okay, so thank you, Angie. Great introduction. And there we have Tony Meredith, who's going to be joining us this evening. And for those of you who don't know Tony, he's a fantastic guy, lovely guy to be dealing with. And Tony is a property developer and a property coach, also a business coach based in Brisbane. Now, Tony started developing property in about 2016 while still fully employed. And at that time, he was the national sales manager for a large multinational organization. In March of 2018, Tony was fortunate enough to be able to leave his full-time employment, focus on his coaching and his property business. Tony is an actively involved property developer and is currently undertaking a large land subdivision, plus minus 1 hour north of Brisbane. Great place to be, by the way, Tony. And as a business coach, Tony specializes in sales, leadership, and mindset for small businesses and, of course, all you property moguls. Tony's key to success is CAPE, consistent and persistent effort. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Tony, who is going to take over the screen and give us a little presentation. I'm super excited about what Tony's going to be speaking to us about tonight, because it's all about mindset, and you'll see the way that Tony just glides through the stuff. It's absolutely amazing. So
thank you. Oops, there's a bit of background noise coming back to me. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that. But anyway, thank you, Mish. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Angie. And it's a wonderful opportunity. Just a disclaimer, I've not done anything in the commercial property space. So all of my property experience is in the residential side of things, land subdivisions, building residential properties. But this is an opportunity for me to, learn more about the commercial side. So, but thank you, Mish. I'm going to take you through mindset, and mindset applies to everything: commercial property, residential property, business life, etc. And so it's all about making sure that we've got the mindset right, be able to get out there and achieve whatever it is that we want to. In tonight's lessons, it's all around achieving in commercial property. Okay, this doesn't want to turn for me. Here we go. So who am I? So firstly, a wonderful introduction. Thank you, Mish. So I'm a business coach, a property developer, property coach, and left my job in March of 18. And I get to do these sorts of things, coach individuals, speak publicly. There's a couple of my sites in their early stages. And I just thoroughly love to be able to help people move forward. And so I've got my own little mission, which is positively impacting people in business. And whether that be in property, which is a business, or whether that be in small business, it's about helping business owners achieve whatever it is that they want to. So I've got a property success formula, and this is based on my own experiences, my own personal experiences, and also based on seeing what happens with my various clients. And that is that knowledge is potential power. And a lot of people have a lot of knowledge in 2021. It's pretty easy to get knowledge, Google it up, do courses, read books, etc. Knowledge is everywhere in today's age. But the reality is it's only potential power. It's only potential power because if you do nothing with it, then what does it really matter? And an old Chinese proverb is to know and not to do is to not know at all. And I know plenty of people who know stuff in property, but they're not taking the action with the things that they know. And so that's my job. That's what I do. I make a living out of getting people to take action and move forward. Skills are important. You need to have skills. Just because you know some stuff doesn't mean that you're going to be good at it. So you need to have skills, and obviously skills are things that you're going to refine over time. When you start out, it's important to recognize that you're going to be clunky, and that's okay. We've all had to start out in various tasks and jobs, etc. But it's a case of constantly refining those skills. But, skills is only, in my mind, a contribution about 15% of success in property. The largest contributing factor to success in property lives between your ears, and it's your mindset, your psychology, and your attitudes. And that's what I want to focus on tonight, around getting you in the right frame of mind, recognizing your psychology, recognizing that there's a whole range of things that are holding you back from achieving whatever it is that you want in your property business, with your property wealth creation, and how do we get you to move forward so that you can get out there and achieve whatever it is that you want to. So why don't people achieve their goals? And there's a number of reasons why they don't. I'm going to go through them in a bit of detail. But the first one is ultimately it's around a lack of commitment. And for me, to break things up, I just wanted to demonstrate the difference between commitment and interest, because I get to meet a lot of people who are interested, but they're not necessarily committed. And so, people are interested in property. That is, they might have seen a Forbes top 10 rich list, and they've seen people on there who've made their money through property. It's like, I want to get in there and make my money through property. But the reality is that to be successful in property, in commercial property, in residential property, property generally, you need to be committed to what it is that you're doing. And so for me, this young lady here, she's interested in having a drink, whereas this young girl here, she is all in. She's absolutely committed to having a drink. To give you another example, this lady, she's interested in having a swim. However, this fella, he is absolutely committed to entering the water. And that's the level of commitment that you need in order to create success in property, in business, in whatever it is in your life. None of this stuff happens easily. You need to work at things, but certainly you need to get very committed to what it is that you're doing. The other reason that people don't achieve their goals is because the goal is way too big. And when goals are too big, then they can become a demotivator. So it's important to have stretching goals. It's important to, want to challenge ourselves to achieve something. But when the goal is too big, then it becomes a demotivator. So it's important to manage the size of the goals. Too many goals is another reason why people don't achieve. They want to achieve so many different things. They want to, I can just hear some feedback back, but they want to be able to, climb a mountain and change a job and create wealth through property and all these types of things. And what happens is, sadly, because they're trying to do too many things, they end up doing nothing. And Bill Gates talked about, most people will overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And that is then, if you were to methodically space out your goals and not try and do it all in a short period of time, you'd actually look back after 5 or 10 years and be absolutely blown away by the growth and improvement that you've had. So it's important to recognize that as you're setting up your goals. The other thing with goals is that they're not specific enough. So people aren't specific with the things that they want to achieve. And, for me, the analogy I use is a GPS. So when you go to a new destination, you don't just type in the suburb and hope that you miraculously arrive where you want to go. You would type in the street number, the street name, and the suburb. And guess what happens? You arrive at your destination. And goals work in exactly the same way. You need to be very specific and have clearly defined goals that you're going after. So it's not just, hey, I have a goal to make some money in commercial property. It's about how much money, what types of properties, by when, etc. There's a whole process that we go through to help people really bang these into shape and come up with clearly defined and then also written down goals as well. So you need to have some specificity in what you're going for. Lack of purpose. Again, it's similar lines to the whole idea of commitment, but one of the big reasons for people when getting started in any venture is to really get deeply connected with why you want to do that in the first place. Like, what's your why for wanting to get involved in property? And if it's chasing money, then that's generally the wrong answer, right? So there's a deeper internal reason that's your why, that's your driving force, because any form of property is challenging. You're going to have ups and downs and downs and downs and downs and ups and downs. And so it's about getting deeply connected to the reason that you're doing the thing that you want to. That's so critical. So you want to spend some time understanding, what's your purpose or what's your reason for being. No or poor planning. And the saying is that a goal without a plan is just a wish. And there's plenty of people that I know that have plenty of wishes, right? But it's about creating the plan. And so the process that I use is, creating that goal, start with the end in mind. I got this concept from Stephen Covey, who wrote the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But start with the end in mind and then work your way backwards by creating that plan, the action steps, the milestones that are going to get you there. And it's amazing when you have that plan, then you actually start to inch your way closer to where it is that you want to get to. So, either no planning or poor planning, and then constantly reviewing that plan as well. So don't just set a plan and then pop it in the top drawer and hope it works out okay. Constantly reviewing that plan, challenging yourself. What's working well? What can I do different? Reviewing the plan on a regular basis. Fear of failure. Fear of failure. thoughts become things. It is the single most important personal development lesson that I've learned, and that is that thoughts become things. And if you are thinking about failing, if you have a fear of failing, then that's what you're bringing into your world, and you will fail, right? You will fail. And so it's about recognizing that instead of having a fear of failure, what's the opposite of that? And the opposite is, well, how do I create success? How do I go and create success in commercial property, for example? And it's about, so many ways that you do it. And we talked about knowledge before. We talked about getting some skills. Some other things we're going to touch on is surrounding yourself with the right people like Mish and Angie, for example, help you, overcome some of those fears by teaming up with experts. But if you are fixated on failure, and this happens all the time, people focus in the wrong direction. And it's about catching yourself and recognizing that thoughts become things, and they truly, truly do. And it's about, how do I then go and shift my thoughts from focusing on what I don't want, because no one wants failure, let's be honest. It's about focusing on the things that I actually do want, and the things that I want to achieve within my property journey. The single biggest fear that we have, in my view, is the fear of criticism from other people. Other people's judgment of you is the reason that you won't achieve the things that you want to. It's going to hold you back. You see, as humans, we're a herd mentality. We like to operate with the conformity and the approval of other people. And when we go and do something that's a bit different, so commercial property, it's a little bit different. And people will give you all sorts of opinions. They'll give you their thoughts. They'll tell you it won't work. They'll tell you it's crazy. They'll tell you to leave it to others, right? And that will eventually get you to sit back down if you listen to that, and you'll agree. And the reality is that it's people putting their own insecurities onto you, their own, they don't fully understand commercial property, but they're giving you their 10 cents worth. And if you believe that, then you're never, ever going to achieve the thing that you want to. And so it's about recognizing that you will get criticized from other people. You can't stop the criticism from other people, because it's going to come. It's going to come from those that love you the most, and take it from someone that went through an enormous amount of criticism from other people when I decided to, let them know that I was going to leave a high-paying job. And the criticism was phenomenal. But the reality is that I knew myself that I had a bigger reason, and that's what saw me through. So this is the single biggest fear that we all will face as humans, and it's about recognizing, well, how do I work my way through this? Another reason that people don't achieve their goals is because they don't have accountability partners, and so you can have accountability buddies. You can come up with, there's plenty of different property networks out there. Get involved with like-minded people to help you, to walk with you during the process and hold you to account. You can have paid accountability buddies like coaches, like me, like Mish, etc. There's plenty of people out there. One of the things that I would encourage you to do, and this is not just me trying to sell, although take from this what you will, but a lot of accountability buddies that we have are our friends and family. And the reality is that our friends and family don't always tell us what it is that we should hear. They tell us what we want to hear. They tell us they want to keep us safe and protect us. And we need to have people who are going to challenge us and stretch us and grow and tell us what it is that we need to hear. And if we're falling short in certain areas, we need to be open to that, because, in the spirit of achieving our goal, then we need to get real feedback. And then it's up to us what we do with that particular feedback. And lastly, a lack of belief or uncertainty. This is where it all starts. It starts with a lack of belief, and the majority of us have limitations that are holding us back. And the reality is that the limitations only exist in our head. Maybe it's come from our parents. Maybe it's come from past experiences. Maybe it's come because we saw something in the news, maybe from our friends, whatever it might be. But there's limitations and lack of belief and lack of certainty around what it is that we're trying to achieve. Napoleon Hill, in his book Think and Grow Rich, he talks about this concept called 3 feet from gold. And what the book's about 90 odd years old. And what he means by that is that back then there was a miner. So you imagine back then a miner with a pick and a hard hat, digging for gold, and ends up being 3 feet from gold. Perhaps they dug 97 feet. They're 3 feet from gold. Now, if that miner knew that they were 3 feet from gold, do you think they'd keep digging? Well, of course they would, right? Because they know that they're 3 feet from gold. But the problem is in our world is that we don't know how close we are. And so because of that uncertainty, we don't realize that we're only 3 feet from gold. And the reality is that the majority of us are going to give up. We're going to give up just as we're about to achieve the goal that we're looking for, because we didn't have the faith, we didn't have the belief, we didn't have the certainty. And so it's about, well, how do you introduce that into what it is that you're trying to achieve? And so these are the reasons why people don't achieve their goals. So one of the ways to achieve your goals is to develop and grow a growth mindset, and a mindset that is going to set you up for success. And so it's one that sees opportunities everywhere. You see, all of us have this, the RAS, a reticular activating system, which is a little filter that sits at the top of our spine, the base of our brain. And what it's doing is it's filtering things in and out that it thinks that we want to receive. See, we can't possibly compute all the things that are going on around our world. And so when we have a negative mindset, when we focus on fears, when we focus on failings, then the RAS will kick in and you will see negativity and failures and lack of success everywhere. Conversely, when you flick your RAS to optimism, positivity, opportunity, then you're going to see opportunities everywhere. And so it's how you view the world, and it's how you view the world through what is a biological part of all of us, which is our reticular activating system. And a good example of how this works is when you go and buy a new car. You might go and buy a new Toyota, or you might go and buy a Ford or a BMW, whatever. And all of a sudden you start to notice all the Fords on the road, or the Toyotas on the road, or the BMWs on the road, because now your RAS has kicked in. It thinks that you want to know about all those things. So the opportunity here is that we have a choice. We have a choice of what our mindset could be. It can be a negative mindset, or we can choose to have a growth mindset, and we can look for opportunities everywhere. And another example at the moment is, given the market's rising, right, and it's well publicized, the market's hot, and I get a lot of people who talk about the fact that there's no deals, can't find a deal anywhere, right? Well, again, if this is what you're saying to yourself, go back to what I said a moment ago, thoughts become things, then you're not going to find a deal anywhere, right? You're going to bring that into your world and you won't be able to find it. Conversely, if you say to yourself, well, the deal's out there for me, I just need to work harder to find it. I've got my process, I've got my systems, and I'm just going to keep chipping away, consistent and persistent effort. Go back to what Mish talked about in the introduction to me, which is CAPE, consistent and persistent effort. And it's about doing the right things, doing them consistently enough, having the faith, having the belief that I know that when I keep going and I leave my emotion at the door and I keep just working on my systems and processes, then I'm going to find that deal. And the reality is that a deal of the century happens each and every week. So it's about recognizing that from a growth point of view, there are opportunities truly everywhere. There are opportunities in this market. I know plenty of people who are finding wonderful, wonderful opportunities right now. And it's because they've got a process, they've got the right mindset, and they're out there working hard each and every day. Be open to new challenges. Be open to the fact that when you do something new, you're going to be clumsy, clunky, made up a new word then, clumsy, clunky. It's going to feel awkward, right? But it's about embracing the challenges, embracing the growth, embracing the opportunity. It's about in the spirit of, growth and learning. And so, for example, if commercial property is new to you, it's a new challenge, and treat it that way and be like a sponge and soak it up and, leverage the opportunity of the experts, like Mish and Angie and so on, but be open to new challenges, new methodologies. Be 100% response able. So it's a deliberate play on words here. And what that means is that bad stuff happens to all of us all the time. And there's a number of things that we can't control. There's certainly plenty that we can. And people get confused with some of the stuff they can't control, what they can. But I can assure you that there's the majority of things we can control. But I do accept that there's a number that we can't. And so with that being the case, it's about being 100% focused on how you respond. Stuff's going to happen to you. You're going to get some news back that didn't go the way that you had anticipated. Wasn't quite in line with the plan. But it's how you respond that's going to be the difference between your success and mediocrity. And so it's about focusing on what can I do next. By focusing on a problem, for example, by definition, you're looking backwards. And you cannot change a thing looking backwards. The moment's passed. So it's about focusing on the solution. What do I do next? How am I going to respond to this thing that's happened to me? So be 100% response able. View feedback as constructive. Feedback is fuel, right? We might get some feedback that we don't like, but that's okay, because it's about what can I do about that? People are giving you their feedback, their honest feedback, to help you grow, learn, and be the best version of yourself. So don't view feedback as being negative. Don't view failure as being negative. Failure is feedback. I wrote a little article for one of the property Facebook pages tonight about it's all about failure is feedback. The opportunity to take the lesson, to learn, and to move forward, right? So view feedback as being constructive. I've said this a few times. Consistency and persistency, that is the key. And I see that in all sorts of property, in all sorts of small business, in life, in health and wellness, in relationships, in learning, whatever it might be. Consistency and persistency. The reality is that people give up far too soon. They don't stick with things long enough. They try something once, throw their hands in the air, and they'll say, Tony, this doesn't work. And yet I can give you example after example, my own personal examples. I give you examples of my clients when they've stuck with things, and they've had phenomenal success for themselves. I'll give you an example. Just a couple of weeks ago, a client of mine secured a property that he's been going direct to a vendor. This is a residential property, going direct to a vendor. He sent 6 letters. Now, my students know that we send letters every 2 months out to our direct vendors. So that's a year's worth of letters, and he got the property on the 6th letter. Now, how many of you honestly would have given up after the first letter, the second letter, even the third letter, right? But this individual stuck at it, knew that he had a process, knew what he had to do, left his emotion at the door, and on the 6th letter, he was able to secure a property. Consistency and persistency, that is what wins the day. It wins the day in property. It wins the day in small business. It wins the day in everything. Enjoy the journey. Property is a journey. Another article that I wrote today was around, micro speed and macro patience. And what that means is that work really hard, work really smart, but be patient for the outcome. Be patient for the results that you're looking for. Property is a get-rich-slow scheme. And so it's about enjoying the journey. When you love what you do, when you're passionate about property, if you're passionate about commercial property and love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a chore. And so it's about enjoy the journey, because your journey is going to be filled with ups and downs and lefts and rights and backwards and forwards and all sorts. But it's about enjoying the journey, enjoying the moment, but knowing full well that I'm being very patient for my outcome, for my result. And practice gratitude. Practice gratitude is, again, all around changing our mindset. Far too many people focus on the things they haven't got. They focus on the fact that they're not as far down the road as they thought they would be at a particular age, or comparing themselves to other people. And they're focusing on all the things they haven't got. Remember, thoughts become things. So when you're fixated on the things that you haven't got, what happens? You feel like crap, you get angry, you get frustrated, and so you're putting all that out to the world. And the reality is that's what's going to come back at you in a big way. When you flip that around, you start to fixate on the things that you have got, right? So it doesn't mean you don't have big goals for yourself. I mean, I make a living out of getting businesses to create goals and get out and achieve them. It's about having a goal for yourself, but then also being incredibly grounded and focused on the wonderful, wonderful things that you do have right now. And we all have wonderful things. It's about seeing opportunities everywhere. And when you start to think about the wonderful things that you've got, then all of a sudden you'll find more wonderful things. Again, when you find the wonderful things, when you practice an attitude of gratitude, you're going to be so happy. And when you're happy, you're going to be more productive. When you're more productive, you're going to be more successful. And again, thoughts become things. So when you put happiness and joy out to the world, then that's what's going to come back to you, and you're going to have phenomenal success in whatever it is that you choose to do. Righto, this doesn't want to move on. Here we go. So next steps, just in wrapping up. So get clear on your goals. Get incredibly clear on your goals. Again, think like a GPS. Make sure you're typing in the street number, the street name, and the suburb. Get clear on what it is that you want. Your goals are going to act as a North Star. Build a gap. And a gap for me is a goal achievement plan, right? We're not just here to set goals. We're here to achieve goals. And so it's about incorporating the acronym of goal achievement plan. What's that plan? Remember what I said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Surround yourself with like-minded people. right? If this is a new thing for you, commercial property, or even if you're experienced, it doesn't matter, but surround yourself with people who are involved in that space. Mish, Angie, others, get involved with people in the commercial property space. That's how you're going to grow together. And a saying that I have is a rising tide lifts all boats. And so it's about being with people that can help lift you up. And conversely, you can help lift them up. Seek out experts. Again, seek out the professionals, and Mish and Angie going to talk about some wonderful things, in the next part of this presentation. But seek out the people that are doing the things that you like to do and learn from them. Start small, right? Start small. Always, start off small. Put your left foot in front of your right. Again, a lot of people fall short because they try to do so many things. I talked about it earlier. But when you start small and just then focus on building momentum, you're going to have phenomenal success. And progress beats perfection. Again, it's about taking progress, starting small, doing some stuff. Plenty of people sitting on the sidelines, throwing in their 10 cents worth, not on the field, not having a go. It's about progress beats perfection. And what is perfection, quite frankly? So, none of us are ever going to be able to achieve it. But what we can do is we can absolutely focus on progressing. And progressing for me means being better today than I was yesterday and being better tomorrow than I am today. And even if I progress that much, that's progress. And that's about, then recognize that, reward that, pat yourself on the back and keep going. It's about building momentum. That's it from me. So I do plenty of stuff in plenty of places. So if you're interested, for those who don't know me, that's where I am. You can certainly reach out to me, send me an email to my team. If you've got any questions, we're more than happy to help you out. But that's a little bit about me. Hopefully that's been helpful for your commercial property journey and your journey generally in life, in business, in your career, wherever it is. So it's all about, getting your mind right, recognizing that your mindset is going to be the largest contributing factor to your success in whatever it is that you choose to achieve. So thank you.
Thanks, Tony. That was amazing. That really got us, I don't know about everybody else, but really got me thinking about quite a lot of what we are doing. And and moving forward. I mean, all that what you were saying about start small really does ring home, because I think there are a lot of people out there that would love to do these projects, and they're always looking at the big projects until we go through the steps. So thank you very much. That was amazing.
Thank you.